The president uses the term fake news to...
When 60 Minutes producers turned their attention to fake news this week, they first had to agree on a definition.
This is a very loaded term. It's come to mean different things. The way President Trump uses it is very different from the way you use it in the story.
Right. The way politicians use it is to say, I don't like what you said, I take offense with what you said, that's fake news. We're using the term fake news to describe stories that are provably false.
That's why producers Michael Radutsky and Guy Campanile say you don't hear much about President Trump's use of the phrase fake news in their story.
What we're talking about are stories that are fabricated out of thin air. By most measures deliberately, and by any definition, that's a lie.
So the 60 Minutes team went in search of people who've published fake news on the internet.
I wrote fake obituaries, fake horoscopes, fake local business content, fake local sports content, fake local news content.
Justin Kohler admitted that making up fake news was fun.
Fun.
It was fun.
One of your most successful stories was about an Ebola outbreak in Texas that never happened. Tell me about that.
So we did, an outbreak in a town in Texas of Ebola. The media was talking about Ebola like it was going to be the end of times. We named it our Fear Ebola campaign.
But you were trying to get people to believe it.
Well, we were, sure.
How many views did you get on that story?
I think the series overall got somewhere in the 6 to 8 million page views.
6 to 8 million.
The more hits he got, the more of a rush it was.
It was gratifying.
Right, gratifying, addictive. It is, it's powerful, right? To create something out of whole cloth and have people believe that it's true.
This is something a lot of people are talking about right now, fake news. But is this really something new?
No. Fake news, propaganda, it's as old as cuneiform. From the moment the first person sat down with a stick and wrote in clay, they wrote a lie. And if it was about the king or the queen or the guy down the block, it's been going on forever. One thing that Kohler said I thought was interesting is that he did not see himself any different than a fiction writer.
There are a lot of people that sell fiction. Writing fiction is not a crime. What I was doing was not a crime.
Where the problem lies is if I'm reading a Tolkien book, that's fiction. I know it for what it is. But I'm not reporting that elves are taking over the Congress of the United States as fact. There's fiction and there's fact, and they shouldn't be intermingled.
And then there's Michael Cernovich.
I remember when I hit 10,000, I was like, wow, 10,000 Twitter followers? I can't believe it.
He runs a one-man social media empire out of his home, and he claims everything he publishes is true.
What stories have you published that turned out to not be right?
None that come to mind.
None
that come to mind, no.
The 60 Minutes team reported that Cernovich's articles include a fake sex cult story about Hillary Clinton's inner circle. Another falsely reported that Clinton has Parkinson's.
Then you look at the number of times that these stories have been circulated, and it's in the millions. It's in the millions. For example, Michael Cernovich last month had 83 million Twitter impressions. Well, 60 Minutes had 3 million Twitter impressions. So this guy's getting more traction on Twitter than 60 Minutes is.
Who is consuming fake news? A lot of people, millions of people on both the left and the right, and giving legitimate news organizations a run for their money.
These news stories are fakes.
They're definitely not fake.
They're lies.
They're not lie at all. 100% true.
Was there sort of this Kafkaesque feeling there where you've got two people talking and, one says, up is down and the other says down is up, and definitions aren't the same?
The definitions aren't the same, and getting into an argument about it is like going down the rabbit hole. And it wasn't our job to go down the rabbit hole. It was our job to interview him and understand how he makes the decisions he makes.
How do you decide whether something is true?
How does anybody decide? That's an epistemological question. What is the nature of truth? how does anybody ascertain what is true or what is false?
Well, you ask questions, you verify the information. It's not that hard.
We reach around the truth. Finding the truth is not that hard.
I do it all the time.
There seem to be two men with different definitions of what's fake
Yeah.
and what's real.
Yeah. One of the issues with this story, with this topic, is that there is a basic fundamental disagreement right now in the country about what is false information. And that is a place where really we haven't gone before.
Once I started diving into this story, I am startled by the notion that millions of people who cannot tell the difference are using fake news to inform their everyday lives.